All right, so we're going to talk about converting between radical and exponent forms. And what we're going to talk about is the kind of the difference between the index and the exponent of these terms. And the key thing to remember is that the exponent under a radical is going to be the numerator, and the index is always going to be the denominator. And this right here is the key factor to remember. We've got our radical form, and we've got our exponential form. So if we're rewriting something, we can literally we can write any expression these two ways. Just remember that whatever is underneath this radical has to have this this denominator here. So just to start off with, I could say something like, oh, we could do the cube root of y to the 14th. Our numerator is this power. The denominator is the index. So it's always power and index. Power and index. And there's a lot of different ways of doing this. Now, these are some fairly simple examples. And this is going from radical to our exponent form. Doing this the other direction, I could say, oh, let's take b to the 17, or actually, how about I do 12 fifths? Okay, this would be a radical with a fifth root, and I'll have b to the 12th under there. Things to pay attention to is remember that the exponent only applies to what it touches. So if I have another number here, so if I had 3x to the say 4/3 power, this exponent only applies to the x. So this, I would have this 3, and then I would have it times a cube root of x to the 4th. So here, only the x is under the radical. And that's that's a pretty important distinction. That also means that if I had just a minus in front of that, I would have a minus in front of whatever radical I put out here. Let's do a couple more. And other things to keep in mind is something that can be useful is what happens if I've got something like a set of parentheses. Well, everything in the parentheses, so I've got like 4x to the 8th, and I take this whole thing to the 1/3 power, well, that's just going to be the cube root of this, well, everything inside that set of parentheses, because this applies to the entire thing. That'd be 4x to the 8th. If I've got something under a radical that looks like, well, let's say I've got a 4th root of 5m to the 3rd. Even though this has a 3 on it, this 3 doesn't apply to this. So I would just have to have a set of parentheses here with that 5m to the third right there. This, I need a second set of parentheses here if I wanted this 3 to be in the numerator. So this is just a 1/4 here. So this is different than this. Here, in this example, both the 5 is cubed and the m is cubed. And I could write this as 5m to the, well, power index. So these are some of the subtle distinctions that we have to pay attention to if we're going back and forth between the radical and the exponent forms. All right, that's all I've got for now. See you in the next video.